So we're back here with Yuka and Christy and hi everyone. My name is Christy and this is
Yuka.
and we are the co-founders of Identity Beyond Career. I am a career transition and mindset coach for expats living in Japan.
And I'm a life purpose coach and human design analyst for global professionals. And this is a casual conversation about the intersection between identity, culture, and career. So if you're interested about any of these topics, be sure to follow along.
So today I'm excited to ask Yuka about how she got to where she is now in her career. But first, I want to know, can you share with us a little bit more about your personal background?
Yeah, sure. So I'm born to Japanese parents, but I left Japan when I was 4, went to Hong Kong for 2 years and then to UK, and spent the majority of my childhood upbringing, actually majority of my life outside of Japan. So at home, we were very much like a Japanese family, like a typical Japanese family, spoke Japanese at home. But then I guess at school and other places, I was surrounded in that a culture part that's different from Japan. So I have, I guess, influences. I was exposed to the societal norms outside of Japanese culture quite early on in my life. So that's my background. I think that plays quite a big role in how I navigated my career so far. Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible that at such a young age you were able to kind of be witness essentially to different societal norms, cultural norms, especially, by seeing how your parents and maybe other friends' parents would be in their working roles and things like that. So what were you taught or what did you grow up knowing since you lived in so many different places and the places that you did grow up? What were you taught about career and money?
Yeah. So up until 6, 7 years old, even though I lived abroad, or outside of Japan, I was still very much surrounded by mostly Japanese families, friends, community. And from what I learned from that setting in terms of careers is like the dads go to work full time, but that and they kind of like live to work to support their family. Obviously, I have a lot of respect for them, because it is a hard, demanding job most of the time, especially abroad. But what I saw was more like work and life is very much separated, and work is something that the father does, and they have a little time for their family usually. But then that quickly changed when I moved to the UK and I saw my friends' fathers, picking them up from school at like 3:30 p.m. for whatever. And it was like a big, like, wow, that can happen too, like awakening that that's a possibility. And so I was exposed to like the two, not extremes, but two different ways of incorporating career or work into life. One was very much separated, the other was more kind of combined or more where work, I guess, wasn't the most time consuming of the day. I guess it still is, but it was more like family was also just as important as work. So that was something that I picked up on around 7, 8 and started comparing
Yeah.
my situation and their situation.
Yeah, so I mean, just to kind of sum it up too, it sounds like you were faced with a lot of very real like adult scenarios where, family prioritization over career or vice versa, and you got to really experience the direct impact of the choices that were socially acceptable in different countries, both in Japan and the UK and maybe even in Hong Kong a little bit too. And so I'm really curious, with that being shown to you at such a foundational level, right? Because they always say, before the age of 7, your mindset is really solidified in those developmental years. Would you say that that type of upbringing, like that multicultural multinational upbringing impacted your choices as an adult? And if it did, like, how did it influence your career decisions?
Yeah, absolutely. And the more I think about, this topic, one thing that's coming to the forefront of my mind is also one other teaching or, thing that I was taught growing up, which was that only very lucky people get to do what they love for as a living.
Mm,
And the rest of us, we shouldn't be so picky, and that we should be grateful for whatever that comes our way.
mm,
Um, and I saw that in so many people around me. Like they would just be doing their jobs just because they needed to, which is
mm,
also fine. But there was something in me that said, that's not what I want to do a job for. Like I want to be one of those lucky people. If everybody can't do something that they enjoy as a job, at least I want to be one of those lucky
yeah,
people that do get it to
yeah,
do it as a job. But at the same time, some people are born with this innate talent, and from very early on, they know what they want to pursue, especially
mm,
I see in musicians and artists. Like they're so talented from a young age, so that it's so obvious that that's something that they would love to pursue.
mm-hmm,
But I never had that one specific talent that I was so good at and excelled
mm-hmm,
at that I wanted to pursue. So I was always chasing the answer to is am I lucky enough to do something that I want to that I can enjoy, or and if I'm not, can I still find something that I do enjoy as
mm.
a career? And I was always like chasing that, trying to figure out what that was for me.
Well, that's incredible, and I think it's so brave and courageous to even protect and hold that mindset of I really want to do something that I care about in my career, because I don't know if it's like a global mindset or where it comes from, but I think that I also heard that too growing up, that, not everyone enjoys what they do. In fact, most people don't enjoy what they do for a living. And the fact that you stood your ground and you knew from such a young age, like, even though you said it wasn't a talent, I think it's kind of a talent in itself for you to know yourself so well, to know that you had that courage from such a young age, and you followed that, and look where you are now, kind of thing. So I also want to know, though, what your first career was after university and what you learned about yourself from that first post grad experience.
Mm. So I graduated with a engineering degree from Durham University in the UK. And my first career, as I said, I never knew what I wanted to pursue. One of the questions that you get asked often is like, who do you want? What do you want to become when you grow up?
Mm,
Like I never had an answer for that because I felt like every year it changed,
yes.
and I also like I always thought like if I give an answer, especially to relatives and stuff, they would hold that vision of you becoming that
Mm,
for a long time and be
mm,
asking, like, oh, but you wanted to become a doctor. What happened to that dream? Or you wanted to
mm,
become another thing. What happened to that dream? So I never knew. And I didn't know also when I applied for a job. So I ended up just applying for a bunch of reputable jobs, but knowing also at the core, like, I don't think this is it. But at the
mm,
same time, not knowing what I wanted to pursue. But in the end, I did accept a job, manufacturing engineering job at Rolls-Royce.
mhm,
And what I learned from that was it gave me an answer that, yeah, um, I for sure at least cannot be doing something that I don't enjoy as a living. Like it didn't fulfill me. I was just so, I guess also I didn't have the tools that I do now today to look at the bright side or, just reframe the mind so that it is a positive experience. But I was just so, maybe a part of me wanted to prove that, yeah, I want to be picky with what I do for my job,
yeah,
and just prove to myself that that's not the environment I want to be working in. Not that it was a bad environment, but it just for me, it didn't work.
Yeah.
So yeah, that kind of conviction, I guess, that I am looking for what I really enjoy as a living is something that I think I learned most about myself in
Mm.
terms of career, especially. Yeah.
I think that's super wise advice to just hear your story. And I know a lot of people who right out of college, don't actually enjoy their first career because how would we know what we want to do when we really don't have, especially if you don't have a lot of work experience, if you've never done a full like year-long internship, where they give you very specific work-related tasks. It's not common, I think, from my friend circles at least, to really truly enjoy that first job. But what I do know is quite difficult for some people is making that second shift. So after that first job that you realize is not in alignment, how do you how did you find the courage and the strength to navigate into your next role? And like what helped you make the decision to leave that first role that you had?
For me, it was brewing up, maybe even from day one, or maybe even before I signed the papers to join. But
Yeah.
so I knew for a long time that that wasn't where I wanted to be. But I had great experiences, and I'm so grateful for that experience as well, because then I can now say that really that wasn't for me.
Mhm.
But what actually kind of made me decide to leave was a lot of different events that came together, and so the timing was right for various reasons. But well, the company was downsizing, so they were asking for volunteer redundancies,
Mhm.
where they would, give you a package to leave. Which so I was one of the first ones to put my hands up, because I felt like if I don't take this opportunity, I don't know, because at that time I still didn't know what I wanted to do next. I
Mm.
didn't really have a plan. So, but I knew that at the same time, if I don't leave at this opportunity, I don't know when the next opportunity will come.
Mhm.
So, on a whim or without planning, my step ahead, um, which I don't recommend for everybody. I had a great support system, which allowed me to have that, make that decision, which I'm so grateful for as well. But yeah, it was the timing. And I just said, I just knew if I didn't stay there, and I envisioned myself like what would happen in the next year, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just saw myself sitting in the same office, having the same lifestyle routine. And I was like horrified. And that pushed me off the edge to raise my hand and leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my journey.
Yeah. Well, it's incredible also just hearing that was the starting point of such an incredible journey that you've gone on that I actually still want to learn so much about how you got from engineering as a major in the UK to, working at a pretty large corporation in manufacturing to where you are today. And so, what are some takeaways that you want to share with people who are on this path currently to mapping out, their dream careers?
So one thing I would say, which is echoing what Christy mentioned in her sharing a conversation that she shared last time, is, but I'll frame it in this way, like investing in yourself. So
Mm,
investing in yourself to get to know yourself more, whether that's through, taking courses or taking even time out to connect with yourself, be with yourself. Looking back, I can see small details that were always there, but I never noticed until I left my job, which was telling me, which is like, and I'll now share what it was. It was that actually I don't feel very, it's not comfortable, but like big international or big organization, big group working is not my thing.
mm,
So my university was pretty big. I did an exchange at UBC in Canada one year. That was pretty big. these experience, and Rolls-Royce as a really big company as well. These experiences, of course, there are moments I enjoyed, but it's not like the highlight of my life. And when I look back, it was because I felt like it was too big for me. And when I look back at other highlights of my life that I felt like, oh, this is, I would love to relive that experience again, it was when it was more of a smaller setting, when it was a more intimate connection with a small group of people. And now, knowing that about myself, which for me, coaching is like perfect because we get to go so deep, we get to connect and have deep conversations with a smaller amount of people, which that is what really gives me joy. So kind of investing in yourself, whether that's through education or giving yourself time and energy to get to know yourself, there is these small threads, you know, that tie your experiences together, where you can find like what really brings you, like, not necessarily even the thing you do that brings you light, but even the environment. Like, is it a larger setting that you thrive in, or is it a smaller, more intimate group setting that you thrive in? These kind of things, when you get to know yourself, you can find the perfect environment. Even if that thing that you actually do every day, maybe it's not the thing that gives you the most joy. Perhaps if the setting is correct, it can help you to feel more joy. So that's one thing. Get to know yourself, invest in yourself to get to know yourself. The second thing that I want to share is also like becoming aware of the stories that you keep telling yourself that is actually preventing you from living big and stepping out of your comfort zone and really pursuing what you really want to pursue, whatever that may be. So for me, I believe, looking back, that I went into my corporate job knowing or kind of wanting to not like it, you know, wanting to prove that that was not for me. So whatever happened, I was looking at it through a lens of not wanting to accept that that was for me, which I think really limited my experience as well in my corporate life. Had I known better, that was like a concept that was preventing me from really getting the maximum out of that experience. It would have helped me, I think, to get to know myself better through that experience and maybe have more other insights as well. So that's the second part, knowing the stories that are keeping you small, preventing you from living big. And the third one I wanted to share was, it's really important to surround yourself with people, like-minded people that are there to really support you, and that are also striving for the same thing. And I think it was Trent Shelton that I heard say, like, sometimes maybe your vision, like for me, like I really wanted to enjoy what I do for a living. Maybe like your father or your immediate friends, maybe they don't share that same vision. But sometimes these visions are only given to an individual and not given to everybody else. So they may not understand what you're striving for, what you're trying to pursue, what are you after, and they may not share in that same value. And so you don't get much support for them, you know? But then trying to find that tribe, trying to find that community of people that do support that, like what you value, and are also striving for the same thing, you get so much support, because whatever, you know, path you take, it's never going to be straightforward. There's always going to be a dip in the journey, maybe multiple ups and downs, right? It's life, so it's going to happen. But it's in those times that you have the right support system that will help you get to the next stage, help you keep moving forward towards your dream. So that would be the third thing, like community, surrounding yourself with the people that are going to support you. So those are things I would love to share with others on their path to their dream career.
I love that. And just to recap everything that you shared, all the nuggets of of wisdom, essentially. What I heard really loud and clear was invest in yourself, identify and create the best environment for you to thrive in, challenge old stories or belief patterns that kept you small or prevented you from being expansive, and know and, join the community and surround yourself with like-minded people. And it sounds like all of these things really helped you or guided you to where you are today. And just hopefully that other people can incorporate these kinds of tips into their daily life so that they can get one step closer to the things that light them up in a career or dream, dream job.
Yeah.
So thanks. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us today. And I hope that some folks who are listening can take away all of, the main points that you shared with us to stepping into your dream career. But if any of you all have some deeper questions or follow-up questions for Yuka, feel free to reach out to us. And where can they contact you if they want to ask more questions?
Yeah. So on Instagram, I'm yuka.purpose, or they can also reach out on LinkedIn as well. Feel free to message me, and yeah, I would love to get to know you guys.
Awesome. So we'll definitely have Yuka's links and contact info in the information at the end of this post or online, wherever you're finding this video. And just a reminder to everyone, if you are also on a very personal identity journey, going through some of the things that Yuka mentioned in her share today, whether that's figuring out, what your place is in different career paths, and or if there's something more that you want to deeply understand about yourself and how it relates to every aspect of your life, we are having the next cohort for Identity Beyond Careers coaching program starting at the end of January. And we are so excited to invite all of you to check it out. It's online at podia.com. We'll have the link set below, and you'll get to be in live sessions once a month with both Yuka and myself. And we will be sharing all the details and very personalized feedback and support for you and your journey over the next 6 months. So let us know if you have any questions about that. And anything else, Yuka?
Yeah, no, I'm just so excited. The more we iron out the details of the program, we just get so more and more excited of everything that we want to share with you guys. So definitely this is where you can find your community of support and get to know yourself deeper, and also identifying, the different concepts and beliefs that are, keeping you small. So if you're interested, we would love to meet you and have you join us in our group. Yeah, looking forward to seeing some of you there.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.